So the car will run OEM sport brakes. Currently we've got some basically plain centric rotors in there for the time being. This will eventually run these two-piece rotors. These are the rears we got from Goodman Racing, with the camera to adjust there. That's a aluminum hat and a DBA rotor. This is basically the same dimensions as an OEM sport brake rotor. That's what we'll run in the rear. Save some weight and also shed heat better. You know, obviously this will, with the vents here, it'll shed heat, make the brakes run cooler, and that'll make the brakes last longer, which is a really big deal in endurance racing because you don't want to have to change brake pads if you don't have to. And the best way to make the pads last longer is to get them to run cooler. So you run ducts, air ducts to everything and run those two-piece hats, and it'll make the brakes run a lot cooler. The front, we don't know of any two-piece OEM sport brake rotors, so we're going to make our own. We've got custom ones being made. There'll be directional rotors. Nobody has directional rotors for the sport brakes. They have directional slots, but no actual directional vanes. So we had custom friction rings made that with directional vanes and aluminum hats for the front here, which will again also help the brakes, the front brakes to run a lot cooler and also to be lighter, get some weight off the nose of the car. So that's with the brakes. Wheels and tires. These are the Gen 2 6ULs, the 9-inch wheel with a 225 45 15 tire. I'm not sure what compound we're going to be running. We're looking at some medium compound tires like what you see there, and over here we have some Hankook RS3s that we're going to test. That's just slightly slower than a race tire, but only slightly. They're phenomenal, actually. They're really good in the heat. They're actually pretty decent in the wet as well, and we're also going to test these 205 50 medium compound race tires, and then also these 205 50 15 Dunlop Star Specs. Now what's unique about these is they have a 200 tread wear rating, which is sort of a cheater tread wear rating. These are super fast. They're darn near as fast as the RS3s I showed you there. And the way NASA rules are configured, if we run this narrower, harder compound quasi street tire, that we can take those points used for that tire and use them elsewhere on the car, such as putting on a nice little spoiler or diffuser or a flat bottom on the car and reduce aerodynamic drag. Now, we're not after maximum downforce on this car, but we would like to be able to reduce the drag. And the Miata, as good as it handles mechanically, dynamically, it's a great handling car. It's one of the best ever made, really. Certainly for the money, nothing touches it. But aerodynamically, it's abysmal. It's a really bad aerodynamic shape. Generates a lot of lift and a lot of drag. Center pressure is good. So in other words, it keeps the same from high speed to low speed. But we want to reduce the drag on the car by trying to put a little bit of an air dam in the front and a flat bottom in the bottom if we can. But we're sort of limited on points, so we're trying to figure out what we can do. And we're thinking if we give up a little bit of grip from the tires, we can trade that off for reduced aerodynamic drag, and that will serve our goal of, in endurance racing, getting the best possible fuel economy, going quick and not using a lot of gas. So harder compound tire, a little bit of aero, we're thinking that might work, but we're gonna test it first and see what it does in testing, and that involves doing some coast down measurements, some instrumented coast down measurements with a couple different combinations of well, actually a myriad of different aero combinations, and see what we come up with. So that is some additional work. Back here is a fuel tank. Eventually we're going to put a fuel cell in this car, but there just isn't time to get the fuel cell developed because it's a long process of getting it fitted into this space here. We need to make a CAD drawing of the inside of this so that the people who make the fuel cells can build it, and to get it built in time and to get the surge tank and the fuel hoses and everything built, there's just not enough time to get it done before Thunderhill, which is in first week of December. And as I'm making this video, it is the second week of September, so we are just, you know, really pressed for time. So we're going to run the OEM tank for the time being. We will have fuel nozzles, or I should say fire nozzles in here, which will put aqueous foam in here, and there will also be a heat sensor in here that will automatically trigger the fire system if there's a fire back here without the driver having to know about it, and it will also actually trigger a warning light on the dash that'll basically shut the main power through the smart wire for this guy here. That's one of the things we can do for safety, is if this thing catches fire before the driver knows it, it'll actually shut the engine off and throw a warning light on the dash, and the warning light will be set to run straight off the battery. So it's very complicated. The smart wire is a pretty cool thing. It'll improve the safety of our setup here. What else? That's all I can think of right now. I'll try to fill this in and do more videos as we get further on, but that's the current state of Crusher right now.